It's time for another story. I wonder what we should have today. How about The Witch with a Twitch? Do you know this story? I don't know the story very well, but I thought it would be fun to read. As we did read a story about a witch yesterday, it would be nice to have another story about a witch. Are you there? Are you all here? Oh, good. I'm pleased to see that you're all here and enjoying what we're doing. Right, let's see. This is a story also, as you can see, about a witch. And we'll begin at the beginning. Right. Kitch was an ordinary witch's cat, but his beloved Mistress Willa was no ordinary witch. He was very nice. The rest of the witches called her Cowardly Custard, and even Kitch had to admit that she was not a very brave witch at all. She was really a scaredy cat. Toads made her tremble. Nighttime made her nervous. And spiders made her jump right out of her skin. She was so frightened of spiders. Willa was a very twitchy witch, which could only spell trouble for Kitch the cat. One dark night, Willa and Witch were zooming through the air on her broomstick through the sky. Willa was already feeling twitchy because it was very dark, and suddenly in the darkness, but suddenly an owl came swooping past. Oh no, what a fright! The witch twitched, the broomstick pitched, and Kitch ended up in the mud, covered in black, horrible mud. Poor Kitch. Willa took him home for a special bath. Just 2 drops of magic potion would cast a spell to make Kitch's fur shiny and sleek. He didn't really like sitting in the bath. Drip, drip. And then, suddenly, across the floor, a mouse came running, and the witch twitched, and the spell switched, and guess what? Kitch found himself covered in spots. He looked so silly. Poor spotty Kitch spent the night trying to hide from all his friends, but the other cats soon discovered him, and they teased him and laughed at him until he couldn't stand it any further, and so he decided that he had to run away. But before he left, he wrote a letter to the witch to tell her what he had decided to do, that he decided he was going to go to sea. Meanwhile, Willa looked through all her books for the spell to put Kitch right, and she finally found it and hurried off to go and cure her cat. But all she spotted was a note. Willa was very upset that Kitch had gone. She just had to find him. So now what was she going to do? Willa flew high and low looking for Kitch. She flew over mountains and over where the penguins lived, but she couldn't find him anywhere. Until at last, bobbing on the sea, on a very stormy sea, in a boat, was a very sickly-looking Kitch, who was overjoyed to see Willa. The witch raised her wand to cast a calming spell on the water. But suddenly, a gigantic whale rose up out of the ocean. What a shock! The boat dipped and Kitch fell into the deep, cold water. Splash! He had never been so afraid. Now Kitch was in real danger. What was going to happen? Without the slightest twitch, Willa dodged the whale, braved the waves, and hauled her cat up to safety on her broom. Pulled the poor Willa up onto the broom. Back home, the witch magicked the spots away. She fussed over her cat until he felt better. Now, Willa didn't give two hoots about swooping owls or snooping mice or even scary spiders. Kitch was safe and sound and very proud of his own dear, kind and brave witch. And they all snuggled up in bed, and she read them a story in the same way as I am reading you that story. Did you like the book? I think it's quite a fun story about a witch. Yes. Can you see what she's got on her head? Very big hat. And do you remember what the things were that frightened her? She was frightened of all sorts of little things. Can you think what they were? She was frightened of a mouse in the bathroom. And she was frightened of, what else was she frightened of? Can you remember? Yes, come on, think hard. She was very frightened of the mouse. And she was frightened of the owl in the sky, because that's why he fell off. Yes, and what else? She was frightened of toads. I don't like toads or frogs either. And she got very nervous at night. See, there's the toad. So she was a frightened witch, but once she was brave and was able to pull him out of the water, she became a very brave witch. I hope you like